What is up, YouTube? NES Addict here, and today we're going to do another response video to Michael B. the Game Genie. Top 3 games left off of the NES Classic. All that and more, next. Alright guys, so the NES Classic has 30 preloaded games on it. Trying to come up with an alternate list was a little challenging, especially because I didn't want to use the same games that Michael B. the Game Genie used, namely Contra. So, to start off with, I will say that they put Gradius on the NES Classic. Well, I think they should have chosen Life Force instead. Here's my reasoning. They put Double Dragon 2 on there instead of Double Dragon 1, most likely because of the 2-player mode. While Gradius is a 2-player game, it is not 2 players simultaneously. But Life Force is. Gradius may be more thought of classically than Life Force, but I think Life Force is more interesting. I love the level design and how it's almost like an alive level, like things are moving, and it's almost like you're flying through something that's living, and I think that's amazing. This game is actually known as Salamander in Japan, but here in America it's called Life Force, and I think that it should have been put on the NES Classic. So, back to the NES Classic. They did put several black box games on there. One I think they could have omitted was Balloon Fight. Now granted, maybe people that got the NES early on, 85, 86, 87, maybe they had more of an affinity to Balloon Fight, but I personally think Kung Fu would have been a better choice. Kung Fu is super classic. It's like right there with Excitebike, which also made NES Classic. So I'm not sure why Kung Fu did not make the list. I think this would have been a great fit for the NES Classic, and I think for most people, they're more familiar with Kung Fu than with Balloon Fight. So that's why I think Kung Fu should have made it on the NES Classic. Finally, the last game that I think should have made it on the NES Classic is Paperboy. I'm not sure exactly why I feel this way. Paperboy is a pretty classic game, and I think maybe it could have beat out some other games that made it. I know Paperboy isn't a puzzle game, but for some reason it kind of reminds me of along the same lines as Dr. Mario and Tetris. I understand, those are puzzle games. Paperboy is not a puzzle game, but for some reason they all remind me of each other. I don't know if it's just the simplicity, the fun, I'm not sure. But what I do know is if it's good enough for Pat the NES Punk's theme music, it's good enough for the NES Classic. And that's why I think Paperboy should have made the NES Classic. Well guys, that's my list. Life Force, Kung Fu, and Paperboy. What games do you think should have made the NES Classic that didn't make it? It was pretty difficult to think about these games and to figure what should have went on there than what shouldn't. But that's my list, and that's what I came up with. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, take care. Hey guys, these are a bunch of channels that I like to watch. Why don't you go check some of them out? I'm sure you'll find something you like there too.